Maybe we should actually, there we go, I'm recording. We should probably actually do some pre-show banter. What? Banter, banter.
Yeah, there's no like recording light here for some reason.
No tally light. So
there was before. Is this a new version or something? Or
oh no, I'm not recording from within Zoom. I'm recording from within the other application.
Okay.
Should I roll the title card?
Yeah, sure. Let's get started.
Hey, boys and girls, welcome back to Unnamed Sunday Crypto with your returning host and champion, Seth Estrada, and the man himself, Big Beard, a.k.a. Salt and Pepper Beard, a.k.a. Aaron, a.k.a. Mr. Masternode, but you don't know that yet. Shh, secrets. Hey, Aaron, how are you, man?
Good, how are you? How was your week?
Dude. So crazy. Crazy week. Matt from Ion came on the show, and so that was huge. Their project was interesting. I don't want to pull their project into today's show, but one of the first teams that I've talked to that's quite like them, that has like 60 employees and went kind of more traditional route, and has a CEO that was a consultant at Deloitte before, and there's room for everybody in crypto. You know, it's interesting. So
it's becoming like a real business now. Well, not like it wasn't already, but
right. Well, even Zencash, the Zencash team. When I had Rowan on the show, he mentioned they're in the process of professionalizing their presence by like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't just answer everybody's questions on Telegram from this, you know, at like the C-level employees answer just anybody's questions on Telegram. And I was like, well, what are you trying to say, man? We wouldn't have had the interview otherwise.
Oh, man, I mean, that motivated me enough to want to get one of their nodes, man. So
nice.
Yeah.
Well,
that interview was
yeah, Rowan, Rob, Rolf, guys, come on back on the show. By the way, you're welcome on Sunday Crypto. You're welcome on the Monday show. But yeah, I think we'd love to have the full team, not just Rowan. Rowan is lovely. He's a lovely individual, brilliant man, but the full team. So, dude, we have so much from this week. The agriculture and the subcommittee hearings on cryptocurrency. Oh, dude, it's weird. So much talk, so little substance.
It's so little clue. I mean, I watched part one of your commentary, and I watched the previous time that they did one of these hearings, and they seemed kind of bullish and positive, like mostly. There's always this. There's two guys in the last one, not this current hearing, that were like real kind of angry, and then Brad Sherman. I don't know what's up with that guy, man. He's like, oh, you know, it's only used by rapists and terrorists, and what even crypto or no, not crypto terrorists, narco terrorists. It's like what?
Seriously, I got to make a narco terrorist T-shirt for him. Oh yeah, narco terrorist preferred, and I'll just put a bunch of like clip art coin logos in the background or something.
It's like, isn't USD the preferred? And yeah, USD for a long time, except for when the euro was a little strong, is the preferred cash for drug dealers.
Right? Yeah, internationally, doesn't matter where you are in the world too. We love that our dollar is strong, so strong that every cartel in the world prefers it.
Yeah,
yeah. USD, don't leave home without it. Man, let me do a screen share here, man. We've got a bunch of stuff. Then again, today is nuts. Absolutely nuts. Whoa! Wait a second. I think I was going to try to save this for last, but you know what? What the hey? Why don't we jump in head first? What is this?
Oh, Block Farm. This is a little pilot I'm trying. So I got into masternodes myself, and I thought, these normies probably have a hard time doing some of this setup. So I wonder if anyone would be interested in masternode hosting. So this is a little pilot program where you can get, like, at least at first, you'll get like concierge level service while I pilot this and see if there's a demand. So yeah, Block Farm.
Nice. And that's
setup and hosting.
I kept thinking it was blockfarm.io, but it's blockfarm.net, and you can't go to the naked domain, right? It has to be www.
That's right.
Okay, cool. Nice. So this episode brought to you by Block Farm.
Block Farm. Yeah. Well, Seth didn't get paid anything for the plug.
But it's literally being brought to you. You're a co-host, so
yeah.
By literally being brought to you by by the founder of Block Farm. So
yeah, well, we can save the actual founder interview for like later.
Right, guys. Yeah, contact him first. Get on the list, and then there'll be some cool stories to tell. What I'm going to do though is I'm going to selfishly jump back over here to Amazon. Have you seen these yet? Have I showed you these?
I looked at them real quick, and I did. Yeah, so I have seen them, and they're awesome. Like the blue one is pretty funny.
Nice. Yeah, maybe I should make one for masternodes.
What would a masternode thing say? I make money when I'm sleeping.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. It'd be tough because you want it to be family friendly, but also like firmly in the territory of innuendo, because then people will wear it. Mm-hmm. I'm just saying, this GPU can hash all night. Like, it only means so many things. It could only mean so many things, but most of them not good.
No, these are great, man. You got your t-shirts. Actually, are these like made on demand, or like how are you doing it?
Yes, this is merch by Amazon, or they've got Amazon merch as a program. So yeah, people can order from there, and then they do all the fulfillment, and you don't really earn much, and margins are really low, but you can keep prices really low, and
sweet.
It's cool for the community.
Sweet.
So yeah, that's why I went there. But mention this also. I probably should have changed this, but Boost.io, rather Crypto Influence, they did a Medium article on me, which
cool. You're like getting super bumped up on their thing. That's awesome.
I guess, yeah. I mean, it's not like they didn't like pay for placement or anything, but clearly a few dozen people were like, sure, we'll give him the claps, and then we'll go over and check out his account.
But just the fact that they think you're worth, like, because they have other crypto influencers, but they spotlighted you.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Crazy. But but yeah, on Crypto Influence, what I discovered, and this is where like I was kind of shocked, like, because I did a call to action to the audience. And was like, hey guys, and guys, you know what? The invitation still stands. If you want to go and give me an upvote, you're welcome to, and I would really, really appreciate that. But what I found here is on Crypto Influencers, you can see that the relevance right there. There's different relevance scores. Get that thing out of the way. But if you sort by upvote, then I am above the fold.
Nice.
Like,
that is awesome,
man. This is a huge list of people too. It just kind of keeps on going. Crypto tips, even though she really knows her stuff and she's always in exotic locations, usually next to the beach, wearing very little clothing. I somehow outrank her. So yeah, I'm definitely pleased. Clearly, the thing is, Doug Polk and
the fact that you're like on the same line as Doug Polk, that's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah, it makes me think that either I'm doing something right or their algorithm is really messed up. Because he's hilarious and he's also on point. Like, if he doesn't know something, he just admits ignorance and moves on and makes a joke, you know, like a good commentator should. But yeah, so that happened this week. So did this, though. Mr. Silk Road himself, Ross Ulrich. Apparently he opened a Twitter account. And
from federal prison.
Yeah. How does that even work? How can you do that?
Because I don't think federal prison here is like it is in, say, like Sweden, where you have, you know, your own private room and TV and stuff.
Yeah, right. It's not just like conjugal visits, but like your spouse lives with you in jail.
Yeah. Well, maybe he's just like emailing out or dictating it to people on the phone.
Okay, I guess.
Or not emailing. I mean, mailing with mail, physical mail.
Okay. Huh. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah, watch. He's gonna go all like what can I? He's gonna go all Charlie Manson, right? He'll start tweeting out death threats, death orders in code.
Oh, man. I mean, he did break the law in some ways, but at the same time, I think that they were a little hard on him.
Probably, but I mean, he was going down a pretty bad path already. I don't know. I mean, if yeah, that's tough, man. It's tough. We'll see what happens when he's out on the other side. See where all the industry is.
I don't think he's ever getting out.
That's right. It's 2 life sentences. What am I talking about, right? Like, oh man. Well, okay. Yeah, I guess at least he's got Twitter, right? So
how to ruin your life. So don't.
Right. Yeah.
Don't follow his example.
And don't use Bitcoin. I'm sorry. If you're a dumb criminal, yes, use Bitcoin. If you're a smart criminal,
The Bitcoin isn't really the main thing that sounds like got him caught, though. From what I've read, it was the fact that his sort of IP hygiene wasn't good, right? Like his machines were still connectable to him. So with VPNs, even with the VPNs with cookies, and if you're not careful, if they actually are able to zero in on you and get your machines you've been using, there might still be enough evidence on it, like in his case. So
Yeah.
if you're gonna be a super villain, be smarter.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't advise being a super villain.
You're right. If you're gonna be a super villain, you have to be super first.
Yeah.
So bummer. But here he is. He's got Twitter at least, and we have him. One more follower. I'm following out of sheer morbid curiosity.
Yeah. I'm surprised he doesn't have more followers. Wow, crazy.
Yeah, I mean, he's only had the account for what, like all of 48 hours?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
he's doing all right in 48 hours. So we'll see if at this rate he'll be at like ultra like football player and movie star status in a couple of weeks. But he's out. Other thing that came up as I was just looking for some stuff that happened this week is in Vietnam. This kind of caught my attention because the lead dev of the Snow Gem team is based in Vietnam, and really cool guy. I was super impressed when we chatted. So seeing stuff like this happen in countries where there's already kind of some effort being made to do blockchain projects and crypto projects that are of note is just a gut punch, you know?
Well, I mean, I don't know what the power grid looks like in Vietnam, but I know in a lot of developing countries, the grid's not super stable. So, I mean, it might be a defensive measure to just try to keep a lot of miners from moving in, I guess, setting up shop.
That could make sense. I mean, at the same time, I guess it just kind of makes me wonder, like, why not take advantage of this and figure out, like, okay, you guys want to mine cryptocurrency. We've got to figure out how to build a grid. It's up to you to help us run power, like figure out power generation and distribution. You want the power. We've got the land, and then, you know, everything else is inexpensive. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe mining could be one of the best things to happen to Vietnam in terms of infrastructure in decades. I don't know.
Well, actually, and that's an interesting point. I mean, if you think about the possibilities of, say, okay, we're going to overbuild the grid. Now, one of the problems with power distribution, though, typically is the distribution part, right? Like, I mean, there's different topologies. Sometimes it is grid-like. That's why they call it a grid. But sometimes there's a little bit more of a hub and spoke kind of layout of the way the wires are run and stuff. And just because you built one location that has the ability to service large amounts of like power draw and the power generation doesn't mean that new kick-ass infrastructure is going to really make it out to other parts, right? that still need improvements on the grid. So, and I don't know if Vietnam has any resources like hydroelectric that would be useful for power generation.
Yeah, I like you mentioned. I don't know the I don't know the actual like geographical topography of Vietnam. Like if there's water running from high to low to actually get enough kinetic energy for hydro. Most
hydro's been exploited already, and most places that have hydro generation capability have already just built stuff there. But I guess you could use wind power. I mean, I'm trying to think of renewable things too. Mostly because the idea of burning fossil fuels to do more mining it's kind of feels untenable. But
yeah, it's tough though. I mean, that's the economy of mining. They're some of the best places for mining. They have a variety of power generation techniques. Texas, for example, it out generates something like the nearest 5 high generation neighbors. It's just huge because of industry in Texas and manufacturing, and they've got a pretty even split between different fossil fuels, but then they've got windmills and they've got hydro too, and so they've got this. They try to do as much of a variety as they can, but no, they're burning fossil fuels to get there and get that really low rate.
And some states they won't even allow for new like fossil fuel based generation capability to be built. Like California, I believe it has to all be natural gas, right? Which is kind of it burns cleaner. It still makes carbon emissions, but what drives the actual supply side, it's all extracted in this country now, not all of it, but a lot of it via fracking, which is questionable in its environmental impact as well. So
yeah, right, yeah, when your tap water is flammable.
Yeah. So it's kind of like I don't know, the things
Yeah.
we do to the planet.
It is pretty messed up, man. I don't know. Like, I mean, Canada apparently, gosh, where was it? It's so bad. People always say, up in Canada, it's like, it's huge, it's sprawling. That'd be like saying, like, in New York, right next to California, because they go to the same coasts, right? But in Canada, apparently there are areas where there's surplus, and so miners are being invited in. But you have to apply. So
yeah. Well, I mean, if you think about it, especially if you have hydro electric, sometimes you have to let the water go through the spillway. Yeah, basically they have to let the water keep flowing down the river. So you can either run it through the turbines or you could run it through the spillway. But like, it's free power if you don't use it. You lose it. So yeah, I could see that. And if they can make anything, even if it was close to the wholesale price, I mean, most of the times when they build those projects, they build them on these ridiculous, like 50-year and 100-year bonds and stuff. It's like there's a debt to pay, right? That usually the bonds come from some kind of municipal bond or taxpayer bond. So like those companies that set that stuff up, they're answerable to those bonds. So yeah, they have to sell that power. So it's sometimes it works for everybody.
Yeah. And that's just it. I kind of wonder, what is it exactly about Vietnam and their central bank that is suspending the import of miners? I wonder if it is a question of power generation or distribution, or if there's something else going on. I mean, if there are actors that are like, for example, trying to like steal generators from hospitals, right? So like babies are dying.
I completely spaced. I didn't even see the headline that it was the bank that did this, not like just the government.
Yeah, but well, it says that they approved the call to suspend the import of cryptocurrency miners. So I wonder, like maybe we should actually read it. But where did the call come from? Yeah, right. Like so looks like government ministry proposal to suspend imports of cryptocurrency miners. So Ministry of Finance, okay, and Ministry of Industry and Trade. Okay, well, it seems like kind of more a reaction to sort of like general crypto panic, right? Like like governmental crypto panic. I don't think that it's a question of it being difficult to mine or it causing problems. It looks kind of, again, more garden variety crypto panic, like you're seeing in some other territories where ICOs have stripped otherwise well-meaning citizens from their money.
Oh, geez, look at that news to the right. Cloud mining service Hashflare disables Bitcoin mining contracts and shuts down.
Yep. Yeah, they're done. Done.
Man.
Yeah.
How many people do they owe money?
Tons. I feel bad. My co-host on the Monday show, Jeremy Sharapa, he apparently he placed some affiliate links on his YouTube channel late last year, early this year. And there were some people that were reaching out to him like, we want to sue you. And he's like, dude, I made like $33 and change on that. Like, I didn't personally con people out of money. I put a link down in the descriptions of my videos and I reviewed it like once. I wasn't trying to offer you investment advice. And I even gave you a disclaimer that it's not investment advice and you got to do your own homework. But it's weird, man. Cloud mining, I'm not a fan. Not at all.
I had a friend who got burned in what was it? Cryptsy had, and it was never even clear who their partner was, who their actual, because they weren't the mining farm. They were partnered with some cloud mining partner. And he got screwed over, lost, I don't know. For him, it was a lot of money, but at the time it was like a Bitcoin, which, is still a lot of money now. And you'd probably rather have that Bitcoin.
Right. I mean, that's a bummer. Yeah, I think with situations like that also, and I don't know, man, I'm strong. I didn't tell you, man. I didn't tell you, Aaron, that a friend of mine, he gave me a couple of names of companies that are just like obvious cloud mining scams. And some of them are targeted at businesses because I think that they believe they can push even like more aggressively, push really high margin scams with businesses, like established businesses that maybe have higher annual recurring revenue, where they can just kind of sell them the dream at a higher level. Instead of finding instead of finding 50 people to fleece of $1,000, they can find one company and fleece them for $50,000, right? And I'm really strongly considering doing like an expose, because there are a few that are within driving distance from where I live, and I've got half of mine to literally just drive up to their office and show up and be like, "Hey guys, what's up?
Oh man,
what's going on? I heard you do mining out here. You know I can consult, right? I'll help you optimize. Give you a 10% higher hash rate. All I need to do is see you actually mining."
Yeah.
But I don't know. I might get shot.
Yeah, that seems like a good way of making enemies.
Yeah. Masked magician. Oh, well. It was a neat idea. For an afternoon, I thought that'd be fun, but
you would be doing a lot of people a service, though, especially if they would hear. But I'm sure that these places all like use a ton of marketing, so their megaphone's probably a lot bigger than your reach, right? Unless you started paying for advertising. I'm blowing the doors off all the mining scams or whatever.
Yeah, right? Yeah, the masked magician style expose.
Yeah.
Here's how they get you to sign up. And here's how they make you believe they actually have mining rigs when they really don't. That's the other dirty secret of a lot of these places. Like the one that you were talking about, your friend getting his money stolen. There are a lot of them that'll say like, yeah, we're not actually doing the mining. We're an air quotes marketing partner. And the mining outfit, they too are decentralized, meaning that they might have a warehouse in a neighboring state, and then they might have another warehouse in another neighboring state, or they might not. They might just have a lease somewhere that they intend to build on.
If you're in, I would say, for your audience, for people who are interested in cloud mining, don't go with the sort of cloud mining like contract. Go with something like, even though we've probably slammed it a lot, I think in previous conversations, but go with something like NiceHash, where it's like you're paying as you go and you're getting real hash power that you can account for because you control it, which pool it's on and stuff like that.
Right. Either that or go for co-location. I mean, and again, it's going to seem self-serving because I know the company and the proprietors, but minority.
Yeah. It's your gear. And it like the costs are better understood rather than a lot of these mining contracts. You're really like, think of it this way. I mean, I always hate to like use phrases that people use incorrectly when referring to stuff in the crypto space, but consider Ponzi schemes. So a lot of cloud mining outfits really look like Ponzi schemes from the outside because you pay in money and they pay you, but you never see your hash rate. You never see your hardware. You never see any of the mechanics behind it. You just see that you're supposedly getting money back from this money that you're putting in. And then when you let it ride, see, that's part of the tricks of genuine old school Ponzi schemes. It's like, oh, why would I ever take my money out with dividends like this? I'll just reinvest. So they're off the hook for ever having to pay you out. And then they can build the pyramid. It's not a pyramid, it's a Ponzi scheme. They can build the Ponzi scheme based on the new money that comes in. When you're working with something like NiceHash, or like basically when there's some accountability, like when you can observe your hash rate firsthand because you control it, that's legit, right? Like there's real hash power behind that contract.
Yeah. So, yeah, dude, totally. Only opt for platforms where they'll show you a dashboard for either your machine because you own it, you own the machine, or your hash rate because you own that hash rate, and you can direct your pools.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
You have a way of auditing it, right? A channel by which you can audit that hash power. It's not virtual hash power.
Yeah, but that's a short list, man. Yeah, anybody can figure out how to not get fleeced if they just follow the rules.
You can, like, imagine like the cloud mining service you could create with JavaScript and client side, just like graphs that drew on people's browsers. Like how cost efficient that would be. I'm not trying to give evil people ideas, but still,
they have them already, man. That's the thing. Yeah. For that, they're like, oh, hey, 2 steps ahead of you. Here, hold my beer. Like I'll do you one better. I've got one that draws graphs, and it actually pulls random data from NiceHash, so it looks like it's based on real data. But that's nuts, man. Well, good riddance. The more of these that just go away, the better.
Well, I think these guys actually did have mining power, just that they probably were, when things started, they basically got ahead of their expenses. They didn't have enough money in reserve to weather the tough times themselves.
Okay.
They sold contract, because that's the thing. Think about it too. Like this one's not, this is probably not like completely evil selling virtual. Who knows? Maybe it's an look at the image they chose to illustrate this with. They're calling it an exit scam. Maybe it was. This is the exit on the Ponzi scheme. They had to like suspend operations because the numbers for the Ponzi scheme didn't work anymore, right? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Well, and they're reprinting the clause here that if mining remains unprofitable for 21 consecutive days, the service is permanently terminated. I don't know. I mean, they lined it out in their terms of service. Nobody ever read it, I'm sure, but it was there. And I mean, to your point, if they're not profitable and they have already lined out that like this is our plan for when we are not profitable for a certain number of days, because we only have so much operating capital, we only have so much in reserve, then they did the right thing. They actually did the corporate. They took the path of corporate responsibility by saying, like, we said we'd shut down. If we weren't profitable for so long, we have to shut down.
But this is I'd say mining contracts aren't a security, probably. They're like paying for cloud hosting, in which case this is problematic because it's unlike a lot of other types of cloud services, right? Like software or infrastructure as a service, because the cost of power is so high. So they could actually end up being upside down because they can't charge as much. They charge too little basically for the contract compared to how much it costs for them to operate the equipment based on their power bills. If they were to make it like a security though, so that they could do a call on you because you now have to pay, that's how like an LLC would work. Well, shoot, we need to do a call because there's expenses that the company needs and you're a member, so you have to pay in. They could do that, but people probably wouldn't be too stoked about that, right?
Yeah.
I think it's probably, if you're into mining, it's probably easier to, well, like I said, use a pay-as-you-go thing that's more like NiceHash, where you know what you're getting in advance, or just get your own gear, right? And then, but you're taking on the same risk that these guys had.
Totally. And with mining in particular, like there's always the higher potential upside by getting all of the gear yourself and then putting in the labor yourself and then tweaking the hardware yourself and then making sure that you're mining the right coins yourself, so that, I don't know, maybe you don't just want to mine Ethereum 24/7. Maybe you want to mine some kind of like, you want to mine multiple alts that maybe stand a chance of experience, like being the next coin to 10x or whatever,
right?
Or the next coin to 100x, because we might still be in the territory where we see coins launch that could 100x. That could still happen.
Well, and I mentioned to you that the whole strategy of mining coin launches, it's speculative because some of those coins won't even survive. They're going to have a high level of infant mortality. They won't even survive launch. Basically, the community will turn against them, and it's not going to go anywhere. So in a lot of ways, it's like a coin launches. They're not quite like an ICO. They're like I don't know how to describe it otherwise, but or an IPO or an ICO. But it's like it's the launch of a new venture, right? And the team is the founding team. And whether or not they're serious about actually succeeding is another question. I mean, now you're seeing more because the bar is so high for what a currency needs to do most of the time, or not a currency, but a blockchain needs to do. Like, you'd think that we'd be past that era of like launching like Me Too coins. We've talked about this lots of times, but
yeah, we're nowhere close, man. If anything, it's just gotten worse. It's accelerated
because there's there's more blockchains to fork. So there's like a fork bomb.
Right. Right. I mean, and you saw the episode that I did with Rocksteady from Turtle, and they created from Forknote that we were looking at. Did we look at it on the show, or was that another time we were looking at Forknote? And then all of the other, like the CryptoNote Foundation has a site too. I think cryptonotestarter.org or something. And he was like, yeah, this stuff is old. It hasn't been maintained since like 2015, 2016. So we updated it and we added a ton of stuff. We've got like 6 or 7 different wallets to choose from. They're actually all really good. Mm-hmm. Better than the first Monero wallet I got, that's for sure. And then some other cool stuff. and they're kind of OG. They forked directly from Bytecoin, a bit like how Monero did. But he offered to fork their project with me live next week. So, so I'm going to be making my own.
You're going to get your Seth coin.
Dude, I really don't want to call it that, but everyone's like, it's Seth coin. Win Seth coin. Like, okay.
Yeah. But yeah. How long do you have before your date with Rocksteady to make a coin live?
Next Wednesday. Yeah.
Okay. So you got to crowdsource. And hopefully it doesn't become like Bodie McBoat coin. Oh,
dude, I think actually I've got some votes. So a lot of the developers from Ogata Company are in my Discord, and I don't even know if I can show this right now. I think I will. Yeah, I'm going to show the results from. I made a little. Yeah, right. It's safe for work. Just words. But I put out a little Google form and was like, all right, let's vote on a name. Guys, help me out. And hilarity ensued. So let me pull that thing up.
So what problem does this coin solve, Seth?
I will tell you what problem it solves. It solves the problem of cheap quality forks.
low quality forks.
Yeah, it's yeah, it's not just low quality, cheap quality. This will be expensive quality. So let me see. Okay. And I try to make it as generic as possible. You're going to love this. All right. So should Seth name this thing? I tried to just make it.
No, but I like the fact that you used the what's that font called? The Comic.
Yeah. Comic Sans.
Sans.
Yeah. I went out of my way to make it as hard to take seriously as possible. And yeah, what's your Seth's name this thing? And then I required the people give me an email address. I don't even care what it is. Email for the shilling. And then the response is Pizza Coin, Gen 2 Coin.
Gen 2.
Tortoise Coin. And then somebody was like, Minority Coin, because you're always talking about and with minority. Resistance Cash Coin. Banana Town. And yeah.
Not bad.
Ticker Nana. Yeah. And then Crypto Cash, Dog Coin, not Dogecoin. And then because I'm with the Ogata Company, this one might stick, dude. It got a lot of votes.
Right.
Dual Coin to honor dual GPU mining, because my community is really excited about this hardware design that we got.
Yeah, to commemorate.
Right. And Pepperoni Coin. Yeah, again, another vote. And then Ogata Coin, Disruptor, Real Men Beard Coin. So we've got some. There's some candidates in here for sure, right? So we'll have to bring it down to semifinals, I guess, before we actually launch. But yeah, so on Wednesday we go live, and Rocksteady says that with their forking repo, you can fork a new coin. You can be live in under an hour, about 45 minutes to an hour, and you've got a new crypto note. Mm-hmm. Does it help? I mean, I guess the guide gives you the tool chain that you need, or helps you get the tool chain downloaded that you need to get it compiled and stuff. Yeah, all you need is an account on like Vultr or Linode or DigitalOcean, so like a virtual private server. That's it. And then
well, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, it's just building software. So like, and if it's open source and the repo's there at any given time, you could download from head and compile it, and it's supposed to work. That's like how software development is supposed to work. Right. Right. Yeah. So he said that's pretty much all you're going to need, and then maybe a good text editor with syntax highlighting on whatever computer you're going to be remoting into that VPS from. But that was it. But he's going to show you all the magic, the secret handshakes for like changing because there's a block signature and sort of things like that, so that the chains don't get confused with each other. Yeah, that kind of stuff. Yeah. So I'll have the fork master himself, master of the forks, and it's funny because fork coin. It could just have a fork. There's got to be one, man. There has to be. I don't know. We'll see. So anybody watching, like, please don't mine this coin. What
We'll see. It should be fun though. It should be a lot of fun. Yeah, just launching something live. But
what algorithm are you going to do? You're just going to take the same one that they already have in there.
See, that's where I'm kind of conflicted, because in talking with Christy a lot more from Ogata Company, Christy Lee Minahan, I'm becoming convinced that ProgPow is worth launching on a coin. Do I want to launch it on this coin? I don't know, because this coin doesn't have a reason for being other than just like forking a coin. But
has ProgPow been deployed in any coin yet?
I don't know that it's been deployed. I know that it has been, formal announcements have been made by a couple of teams. BCI is one of them, so Bitcoin Interest. And then I think there's one or two other teams that are that have announced their intent to adopt ProgPow as the proof of work algo. But I don't believe anybody's implemented it yet. So
I wonder how hard. I mean, I actually skimmed through her ProgPow repo to look at the algorithm. It does have a little loop in there where you could put useful proof of work in the middle of her algorithm, but it wouldn't do much except for add things together. It does this deterministic bit of work, and it's about all it can do right now. But
right, and that's by design actually. So he's gonna love this. Imperdin, the infamous Imperdin, but yeah, Imperdin is a developer that works with the Ogata Company team, and he's working on trying to like jam a wedge into that area where you can do a tiny bit of like math there, and jam a wedge in there and broaden what can be done. So
yeah, well, I mean, if it's deterministic and something that is, because then you have a provable thing. The part I didn't get in the white paper, and maybe I missed it. Maybe you can ask this in your next Mystery Mining Monday, or maybe I should just tune in and ask, is where is it stored for the later verification of the proof of work by the regular blockchain participants, by the full nodes? What that little useful loop, what the deterministic output of that thing was meant to be. I don't know if it's like a bit mask or, I missed that part, but like I said, I just skimmed through it, so I didn't really.
Right. That's a great question, because I haven't skimmed through it. I haven't perused it to that level. So I don't know. We'll find out, man. I'll see. That was the other person who I wanted to have on the live stream, though, actually was Imperdin, and I believe that he's actively working on ProgPow. So some of those choices may have been determined by him. May have been chosen by him.
So how hard would it be to? I mean, because I don't. That's the other thing. I don't know if their example code or their reference implementation is ready for deployment, like in a coin. Like, could you literally just bring in the code and say, replace the call for the proof of work loop, with ProgPow?
I don't know, man. I don't think so, but I don't know.
Because then that could be the point of your coin. Its point is just to prove that this thing works in actual coin.
Yeah, that does have merit. I'd still want it to have some other utility outside of just a proof of work. Like, I really liked Luke Pighetti from the Pigeon Coin project. Super cool guy. But Pigeon Coin was born from that same mentality of like, X16R is an okay algorithm, but I see problems with it and I want to change it as a proof of work algorithm. So he made X16S and then decided discovered that the Ravencoin team was not receptive to the changes that he was proposing, and so he created a new coin. So he forked precisely because he wanted to show that there could be a new proof of work. He's got a pretty decent community, but man, when Pigeon Coin hit the exchanges, it dumped hard. It dumped really, really hard. It's alive and it's still got a good community, but that's because of the strength of Luke Pighetti as a community leader. And so it's helped to sustain their project and then bring them back, right? So now the community's back, like, oh, this makes sense. We're going to make improvements. We'll stick with you another quarter before we ask you to prove yourself again some other big significant way. But
I need to throw my hat in the ring here for the naming. You could call it Canary Coin.
Right. Yeah. If this coin isn't mineable, then we're all screwed.
Yeah.
It's the canary in the coal mine for GPUs.
And just to stick with this tradition now of naming all like proof of work based fork coins after birds.
It's really good, dude. Actually, I really like that because it is the canary in the coal. I mean, if that were the only reason, then I'm totally on board with that.
If that name sticks, if anybody votes for that, like, I'll be so proud. I would have made a mark in the cryptocurrency universe just by at least helping to name one coin.
Yeah, watch that. Whoever does the art, whoever contributes the artwork, will make a little canary that has a beard like yours.
It'll be like Coinye.
So yeah, man.
Beard.
Oh, dude. So forking coins. We don't need no forking coins.
I'm excited to see it. I mean, like the fact that you even said that Pigeon Coin dumped. I mean, that's great. That should completely disincentivize everyone from mining your coin. It's a total waste of time. Don't even mine it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it. Here's the thing. There are like Pigeon Coin loyalists in the audience who are like, but wait, it didn't dump. And it's like, no, but it did. I was there the day that it dumped. Like, I remember because bag holder. So
if your ROIs were all based on whatever you thought it was going to be and it just hits the exchange, like massive sell off.
Dude, it was bloody. It was so bad, but it's recovered. That's the thing. It's recovered, and again, like in large part because of the strength of the leadership team. Luke is super cool. Well, let me put a super cool community.
Let me give you an alternate theory though for why a thinly traded coin like that would dump as soon as it had an OTC, or I should say, by OTC I mean an actual secondary market, like on an exchange. It was miners unloading it. I mean, basically, they had no liquidity, basically. So you're only going to have like some kind of peer-to-peer OTC market, probably on, I don't know, Bitcoin Talk or wherever people sell their early pre-exchange coins. And then there was just a bunch of coins, just sort of people trying to take some profits, right? At that point. So yeah, like I said, mining coin launches is still, it can oftentimes be a good strategy, because you'll probably see, if you watch the charts on coins as they hit exchanges, there's more exchanges now than there used to be. They usually do get a pump at some point too.
Oh yeah. No, for sure. And
so if you can hang on.
Yeah. I think what you mentioned as far as it being miners who are just wanting to unload and essentially trying to prove that the profitability projections were correct, because you'll get calculators that are basically kind of premature, and I don't even know where they get their numbers from. I think they get their numbers from OTC sales in other back channels like Telegram and Discord and Bitcoin Talk and stuff. And so I don't know how that feeds the profitability calculators, but you'll get a lot of people who base their models on that. Yeah. And then it hits the exchanges, and the reality is just way different, right? Yeah. It's like starting from scratch. Nobody really knows. So yeah, crazy times, but it was exciting to see the Pigeon Coin totally stabilized. Yeah. As much as it could. But yeah, I'll look at that and think like, do I really want to lead a movement on a coin like that? I don't know. What I do know is that there needs to be a ProgPow coin. There does need to be a proof of concept. There needs to be a project that definitely stands at the forefront of what ProgPow is supposed to be, and doesn't die, so that it serves as an ongoing proof of concept and provides some thought leadership there and best practices. So this thing that I'm doing with Rocksteady, I think it really is just like for kicks. Yeah. Yeah. Right. I don't know if I can make it make it serve all those purposes. Yeah. Well, it could be a heck of a lot of work too to implement it. It's not going to be something where you change the magic numbers and compile it and it works. Right. So, well, we'll see. We'll see what happens Wednesday, right? But Tortoise Coin, I like that one also. It's like there you go. Yeah, that's it. Since it's a fork. Yeah, it'll be like, here's the thing. It's like Turtle Coin, and we're going to be bigger. We're going to be bigger than you guys. Just wait. But maybe a little bit slower, but bigger. Right. Maybe you could intentionally, because he had that proof of concept on his website, on his blog, for Athena Coin or whatever, with this ridiculous 1 hour block time or something. So you could say, okay, I'm going to one up you. Our block times are 4 hours. Athena's not slow enough. And then you could also one up. This is probably a lot more work though, because it's probably like a serious hard fork. This isn't changing magic numbers, but you can make your block sizes. You could outdo Bitcoin Cash, and instead of 32 meg block sizes, you could make 128 meg block sizes.
Because Roger Ver just doesn't know what he's talking about.
Oh man.
32 meg block sizes are not adequate for Satoshi's true vision.
Right.
8 meg block sizes.
Right.
And with a 4-hour settlement time, that would be scalable.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it'll be like though I'll brand it totally differently on the project page. It'll just say slow and steady wins the race.
Dude,
we're bigger than Turtle Coin.
We came up with 2 excellent names. You're actually Tortoise Coin's even better.
I'm trying to remember who it was that mentioned that from the Discord community, but shout out to whoever did. So yeah, they're awesome. Attribution. But let's get back to the news, man. I'm getting all self-conscious talking about this now because it's going to turn into something that like a year from now I'll be like, yeah, I really did that and it's still alive. Gosh darn you. But apparently JP Morgan, this is interesting to me because you've got Goldman Sachs that owns, I think in the math, it's like 20% of Circle, which is a majority, stakeholder in Coinbase. So they're getting their grubby hands all over our crypto.
This is called hedging your bets, or in craps, playing the field. They're not taking chances.
And they're smart. I mean, who could blame them? But at the same time, it's like, it's only so long before after, hey, can I just put my finger on your crypto? Hey, can I just put my hand on your crypto? Hey, can I just, and before we know it, innovation is lost.
The Microsoft model, embrace and extinguish.
Right. Yeah. Or like, as I like to call it, massaging the throat.
They haven't gone evil yet, though. They haven't got. I mean, Microsoft hasn't gone dark side on the open source stuff they've been plugged into yet. They seem to be kind of a different company than they were in the Ballmer days with the Linux stuff.
Oh, for sure. Satya Nadella has been a great CEO, and I don't know if that's really marked the change. I think that there are like so many other factors at play, but having Satya Nadella on board at that time during maybe the whole institutional rebrand. The whole direction it's taken has just been super impressive. I think, honestly, had they started maybe a year or two earlier with that new direction and with Satya at the helm, I don't know. We might still see Windows Phone on the market. It might actually be a real player in the market today, but no way to know now.
So, like, let's see. What would the commentary be? Just that was a total tangent, but it was sort of semi-related. Like, what? I mean, here's the thing, that there's that old phrase, like, keep your enemies, keep your friends close and your enemies closer, right? But when it comes to things like investments in companies, it's different. It's not like friends and enemies kind of stuff. It's like, well, there's opportunity here. We're going to make money, right? They wouldn't be doing it because if there wasn't money in it. I mean, look at how much money Coinbase makes. Well, when there's a lot of volume. So yeah, of course they're going to get in on that action.
Totally. Well, beyond that, I mean, I think in some cases that saying does kind of apply when it comes to financial institutions and models of trust shifting, right? Where JP Morgan and JP Morgan Chase, like they are not trust brokers in a crypto-centric world, right? So they become largely irrelevant when you're talking about, and I mentioned it on the last live stream, when you talk about like international wheat purchases, right? 3,000 tons of wheat bought from Russia to go to Turkey using Bitcoin because there are sanctions that JP Morgan can't get around and that no other bank can get around because there's a sanction on the currency that would have typically been used. That purchase was made with Bitcoin. So when you completely disintermediate their power, then there are only so many ways that they can stay relevant. It's not even a question of them like trying to play the smart money game as much as just like, we don't want to die as an institution. We don't want to die. Like, how do we keep from dying? Yeah.
Where's that article? I'm interested in that transaction.
So I've got to, I'll look it up live. Dangerous.
You have your safe for work filter on, right?
Yes.
Not that this would turn up anything evil, but still.
Yeah, right. 3,000 tons of wheat BTC. Ah!
Like, who knew?
Yeah, right. There we go. Oh, speak of the devil. You might have to endure Roger Ver's face.
There's a fetish for everything, though. That's what I was getting at. There might be people who are way into 300 metric tons of wheat.
Right, and Bitcoin. It's definitely with Bitcoin. But yeah, so yeah, there you go. This happened earlier this year.
Because I just watched a debate. Shoot, I shouldn't have closed my tab. It was about, can Bitcoin disrupt the dollar, right? And it was the CEO of Shapeshift. What's his name? Was doing it. So this is that kind of mainstream use, because the counterpoint, the argument usually seems to be, well, it only works if all the people you're working with want Bitcoin, like, because at some point you still have to interact with the traditional banks. Well, at a certain point, maybe you don't, right? Like, that's the magic tipping point when all of a sudden just exchanging stuff in Bitcoin is sufficient.
Yeah, totally. I think
yet,
but then I mean, you're totally right. Having there be a thriving ecosystem with multiple different currencies, though, is so important, because it kind of seems like the atomic unit of Bitcoin might not be small enough based on values right now, and based on projected values. Like, a Satoshi isn't small enough to figure out, like, to use Roger Vere's like knuckle dragging example, to figure out how you're going to pay for your Starbucks with Bitcoin specifically. Like, not everybody is interested in buying coffee every day with Bitcoin, but if crypto in general, right, capital C crypto is the currency du jour, then we have to figure out some way to buy coffee. And the equivalent, right? Like, whatever, fill up your car's tank with whatever it is that it's burning or using. So yeah, how do you do it? I don't know. But
you could add more zeros.
You could you could, except for
without
the Bitcoin
changing the rules too much. You're just making the units. You're making it more divisible.
But Bitcoin proper, I don't think the core development team of Bitcoin proper are actually doing that. I don't think that's on the roadmap right now.
Well, so changing any of the fundamentals is a risky business, and it certainly wouldn't do that on a system like Bitcoin.
Right. But, so how do we come up with either second layer solutions, or how do we come up with related chains that then create a subatomic unit?
Was it Turtle? I watched one of your interviews with, I think it was TurtleCoin, where they have only 2 decimal places. So they just shifted
they added 2 more. Yeah.
They shifted the decimal place so that there's only 2. But that does make sense. I mean, if you think about it, for a currency like money, or for a currency like thing, having more than like maybe 2 or 3, because I mean, we do encounter, like, at the gas station, right? They always have like 99 and then 9/10. It's like
right
of a cent. They round it all the way up.
Right. I mean, it's not illegal. There's no other industry that does it, but for them, like, you know, they live and die on the margins.
Yeah. That 1 cent, that 9/10 of a cent margin.
Right. For a full gallon of gas.
Yeah.
But that's the thing, though, man. I mean, that is one industry, at least in the United States, where you witness that, right? Like, where there is a subatomic unit, you can be charged tenths of a penny.
Yeah.
So,
but that was pretty smart, I thought, for them to make a design like that, because a lot of his mission seems to be A, to teach people about blockchain stuff, and B, to make it more comprehensible for normal people, which I think they're both really cool goals.
Right. Totally agreed. Seriously, I was super impressed by Rocksteady and by the community too. If you haven't joined his Discord, dude, you totally should.
Okay.
But, yeah, I think you would super dig it there. But but yeah, really cool community there. But I may have mischaracterized this transaction as happening because of a sanction against currency. But maybe I should backpedal and just say, if there were a sanction against a specific kind of currency, this transaction still could have happened. Even if there were a sanction against the currency, there might be sanctions on the other side against bringing the goods or services into a certain territory, or traveling through international waters. There might be some treaties that you would break. I
think international waters are open. It would be more about trying to find a port.
Rather, yes, going through international water over to another sovereign nation's port, and or navigating to within their waters. So that might be a problem there. But But this is what comes to mind when I think of this is like, okay, there are trade sanctions. And, to me, like Cuba is still very, very near to my heart. I lived in Miami for 2 years, serving the people there. And our dad was born and raised in Cuba. And I kind of think about sort of the journey that the Cuban people have been on. And I think, man, Puerto Rico is becoming a very popular crypto hub now because of the favorable conditions for U.S. citizens there. But it makes me think, like, what would happen? Yeah. How fast would Cuba change if instead of waiting for the U.S. government to kind of shift its attitude towards it with the trade embargo, we just said, well, certain cryptos aren't regulated. So no, infusion of crypto into Cuba.
Well, since they're still the only communist country left. So yeah, like North Korea, China, not really. It's sort of communist in name only, and Cuba. So Cuba and North Korea are like the only two. And it's I wonder if the leadership there has that kind of vision. I mean, it would really be an opportunity for them to turn things around, because education is so important in Cuba too. They have a lot of really well trained people.
Right. Well, and a lot of very literate people. I mean, they've got, by the numbers, their people are more literate than ours are, and have been for generations now. So it kind of makes me wonder, like, if, it kind of makes me wonder, like, if the regime, like, the whole point of there being a decentralized movement within crypto is that it is kind of fundamentally anarcho-capitalist. Like, who needs their permission? But
it's kind of, that's kind of where I'm getting at. It's like, unfortunately, it would undermine their own authority in the country. So they can't like run towards cryptocurrency.
Oh no, the regime can't.
Yeah, they can't. Yeah, but the people could. But I'm just saying that the regime can't really endorse it because it would take away some of their power. Right. Whereas in Puerto Rico, since they're I'm trying to think of exactly the right name.
Well, they're an annex.
Yeah, they are a protectorate / they have a different name though.
Annex.
Yeah.
They are a protectorate and an annex to the United States.
Yeah. So I mean, they can even vote in certain federal elections and stuff. It's crazy, and you don't even need a passport. It's like amazing. So, if anybody here, have we spoken about Act 20 and Act 22 before here?
Dude, no.
Okay.
We totally should. You want to like straight up, pivot?
We'll do another.
Okay. Because that's a strong point. Seriously. Like, and I mean, we could just like, and everybody could be shouting it from the rooftops right now, and it still won't get as much adoption and traction as it probably merits.
We'll do another episode on Act 20 and Act 22, and other domestic crypto friendly regions here. I've been doing a lot of research on this stuff lately, apropos of things I can't talk about in more detail in, but I could at least share some of the early research with you on other stuff.
Yeah, cool. So rain check. Puerto Rico 20 and 22.
Yeah,
got it. We'll come back to that. It's Act 20, right? And Act 22.
Yeah.
So yeah, awesome. But no, I mean, I think about that. Like, countries for which there are sanctions against the currency, right? Cuba's not supposed to have US dollars, does it?
I'm sure there's piles and piles of them.
Right? Totally.
They might not even be legal though, but because the government might not like them, because it probably it's like black money there, because it would undermine their own domestic fiat currency.
Yeah.
But I don't know a ton about like what it looks like on the ground in Cuba right now, and it's kind of a bummer that things started to open up a little bit, but now it looks like they're starting to close up again because of the current political climate. Without getting political, I mean, it's
kind of weird though, because when it happens, because it's bound to happen, and as the Cuban people become more free, it's going to transform. I mean, it's going to be hard to predict exactly how that'll roll out in terms of infrastructure changes, but I can't imagine that the people of Cuba will want to drive 1950s and 60s era vehicles for the next 50 years.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, there's no way that can just keep happening.
They can just skip straight to flying cars.
You're right. Yeah, we'll fly some over and it'll be like, oh, hey, yeah, that's it. We can airdrop crypto now. So that's kind of what I'm wondering. And this example here, right? So yeah, what's the problem with with JP Morgan getting involved? Nothing for them. For us, it just means that they've got a way of doing it. The incumbents, so to speak, they're used to playing by certain rules. And those rules are, I just don't think, compatible with the kinds of barriers that people who are involved in crypto want to break down. There's a very, participation in cryptocurrency is still, in a very fundamental way, it is a form of anarcho-capitalism. Like you're participating in sort of spreading the gospel of chaos.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, and especially now with the privacy coins. I mean, it's not, it's part of the reason they had to acquire another business is because they can't touch that stuff directly, but they can own a company that deals with it. Now, then all the regulatory risk is contained in that bubble of the child company. They don't have to worry about it from their banking law requirements.
Right. So yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not shocked that JP Morgan wants to get in on it. I'm just not interested. I'm just not interested in facilitating it for them or participating with whatever their ICO tokens are. Cool. But and then this is the thing.
That's right, Raiden. That's this pretty recent news too.
Yep. So I think this was kind of we should lock it down now. This was kind of the main thing that I think we wanted to talk about was just kind of scaling, right? Mm-hmm. Lightning Network is supposed to, it's available right on Bitcoin. You can see it in action. Been a long time coming. And so scaling for Bitcoin is there, right? We're going to see scaling on Lightning. But then with Ethereum, we went through the CryptoKitties tween and teen,
I don't know if this would fix. I just skimmed the 101 stuff. If anybody else is interested in the Raiden, it's like Lightning Network for Ether. I don't know if it supports tokens, and especially when it comes to things like non-divisible tokens that have so much logic in them. This doesn't do this. From what I can tell, at least from skimming this, it doesn't do the deeper smart contracts, the sort of Turing complete smart contracts. Now, maybe the interpreter does have the full interpreter in it so that you could do the smart contracts. But I mean, they're showing ERC20 tokens in their diagram. So maybe it can do tokens, but
so I want to say that's exactly what it's meant to do is secure transfer of tokens specifically. So I've got to be honest, man. I haven't read through enough about Raiden to be able to draw any decent conclusions or to draw any comparisons or do any contrasting between it and other proposed scaling solutions of Ethereum. Like
if they get this working, though, man. I mean, ERC20. It doesn't say what is it the 230 something whatever the non-divisible tokens, but maybe it could probably do those too. If it's just transfers, not the full logic, the crypto, because part of what made CryptoKitties kill the network was the breeding logic is on blockchain too. So it wasn't just the transferring the kitties around that was choking the network.
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
It's executing the full smart contracts that drive the breeding system and stuff. Yeah.
That is costly, man. And that's why it's kind of like, I don't know, like there's some things where I think like it's interesting for some of these projects to launch in on blockchain, but blockchain is still just not the answer to all things, right? You can't blockchainify everything. Like I mean, like CryptoKitties is really cool, but to your point, some of the breeding logic could have been somewhere else.
But then it's not decentralized.
It's not fully decentralized.
Right.
So you can still use a decentralized system to issue tokens, right? Like you don't have to have every single step along the way decentralized, because you're talking about, like in this particular case, you're talking about a game.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not like then again, I mean, I suppose there may be a really solid use case for why you, as a proof of concept, you would want to have all of CryptoKitties on the blockchain, and you would want to have that breeding logic. You wouldn't want to have that breeding logic on the blockchain.
Yeah, I mean, Here's the irony. You mentioned what's the point of having it all on the blockchain and decentralized and so on and so on. Well, if I looked through the CryptoKitties, some of the smart contracts, and the only one that they really haven't published is the actual. There's one part of the breeding logic that they haven't published because that would ruin the fun of the game. That is the game. The gamified part is the randomness that you're going to get. But the part that you can see in the contract that's publicly published is that they have a kill switch in it. And, even though the logic does execute in a decentralized manner on the blockchain, somebody still controls the contract. So how decentralized is it? When there's a kill switch in it that you can see in the source, and somebody controls that contract.
Yeah, that's a fair point, though. I mean, that's a fair point when it comes to any kind of automation and any kind of a system like blockchain, though. Moving forward, is that there's still a question of ownership. There's still a question of authorship. There's still a question of control. There's still a question of initiation. So, I mean, you can take a decentralized system and put it in the hands of a bad actor, and they can still do bad things.
Well, where I'm kind of going with it is that I'm kind of conceding your point. I mean, there's no point for it to be completely. Let's not get too hung up on decentralized, right? When somebody still has control.
Right. Yeah. If there's still one person with executive control, then decentralization means nothing.
Right.
If it's just a mechanism, if it's just a giant Rube Goldberg machine that person still pulls the lever on.
Yeah.
Nah, man, that's interesting. But I think maybe, I mean, as a thought experiment, I'm wondering if like all of that decentralization with CryptoKitties, maybe it is a step, an iteration towards creating a system that is helpful for the next generation of crypto casino. Maybe. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, it is. It's just it's an important. I'm not being critical of how they did it. They did it the way they felt they needed to do it. It is an iteration towards the bigger goal of more completely decentralized and scalable solutions, right? It's just a stepping stone. So CryptoKitties was the first, non-divisible token to think that I mean, people have been talking about that in theory, and there are things like colored coins. So I guess colored coins already existed, but they hadn't really been any of the versions I'd read of hadn't. Well, yeah, they sort of envisioned them as tokens that could own physical property. So that they were sort of framed as non-divisible tokens, but CryptoKitty tokens are genuinely non-divisible, right? Containers for a single asset. So yeah, it's all just moving towards this goal of all these kind of things people have been talking about for 10 years with cryptocurrencies, like use cases that require pieces of technology like that actually hadn't been implemented in any example yet. So they implemented one, which is kind of cool.
Yeah. Okay. I get it now. It's just, it's still, I know it was a bummer for everybody to be like, wow, everything is totally choked because of a game.
Because of kitties.
But, so yeah, man, I'm interested. Maybe I wish we had more time to do a slightly deeper dive on this. I don't think we do tonight, but
anybody who's interested should just go check it out. Raiden Network 101. Right. And then it'll give you a good overview. That's where I got my overview.
Yeah, and I've got it pulled up here because I wanted to make sure that I did a little bit more homework on it. I know Christy's she's really bullish on an Ethereum, on an Ethereum scaling solution called the Cosmos network. But yeah, Cosmos is another one that apparently is getting a lot of love in terms of an Ethereum scaling solution, and theirs is a little bit different, but I'd kind of like to be able to compare and contrast the two. I mean, they've got some really well laid out materials here also. But yeah, I think, man, we got to wrap the show a little bit earlier than usual.
Well, this has already been pretty long, man. We've gone over an hour.
Dude. Okay. Yeah. I don't want to go on a bender like we normally do.
Yeah, we should probably, I'm trying to think, how could we keep the format tighter in the future? I kind of do like just the fact that we can talk about whatever though, which is fun.
I do too. And that's kind of the hallmark of the show. That's why I wanted to make it the Sunday show, Mm-hmm. Just because lazy Sunday, most people are like, they're not doing work. They're not doing much. And if they want to talk and think crypto, they can kind of follow our meanderings and hopefully glean something useful.
Yeah. Yeah. Get some ideas for things to look at.
But yeah. Yeah, Cosmos versus Raiden. I don't even know if it's a comparison or like a competition, really. I don't think
they're not in competition. I mean, they don't even overlap, really, to be honest. Cosmos is a little bit more comprehensive.
Yeah. So I'd love to still just kind of say, like, because they're both touted as Ethereum scaling solutions. So I'd love to kind of like map out, like, okay, when do you use Cosmos? When do you use Raiden? Why? Like, and how, like, what is the correlation here? Like, how do these projects, what's the relationship between the two? How can I leverage Cosmos? How can I leverage Raiden in a way that makes sense? Do I even need to, depending on what my aims are as a new product manager, or like launching a new project?
There's
Ethereum.
Loom. There's Loom also. I don't know if you're aware of that one. So, yeah. Which sounds like a similar value proposition to Cosmos. So
surely it is .network as well. Oh, ouch.
Loom Ethereum. I don't really, yeah.
And, well, hey, if anybody from Loom Network is watching, Loom.network is available, just so you guys know. Anybody watching?
Lumex. They're the ones that have the Crypto Zombies game, educational game.
Nice. So, yeah, when you're done playing with cute kitties, come play with cute zombies.
You can make your own zombie game.
Interesting. Yeah, very interesting. Huh.
And they have got a lot of good documentation and sort of learning resources. So that's I think a big differentiator for them. It works, and they've got a good documentation.
Nice. You know, I'm kind of thinking maybe we do kind of like go over different Ethereum scaling technology in another episode, because we mentioned, like, both of us were like, Raiden looks interesting. But then Cosmos and then Loom Network. I love to look at the different Ethereum scaling solutions and kind of see, like, how do they fit? Like, is there a way to map them onto a meaningful sort of constellation of Ethereum technologies?
I mean, Loom could be used for more than games, but they definitely positioned it as to support games, blockchain backed games. So they have a specific use case. I get the sense they developed it for themselves for games and thought, well, we might as well build an ecosystem around it and get some other contributors to this project.
That makes sense. I mean, yeah, scratching their own itch. And they, if they knew that it was going to help build a game specifically. There are so many other games that are getting ready to launch. So, but cool. Yeah, man, maybe another time we'll have to go over some of this stuff. But, what do you say, man? Should we call it? Is that the show this week?
I think that's the show for this week.
Cool. Hey, let me jump back over to Block Farm because we got it up here. Any other
Thanks for the extra plug.
Dude, no problem. Beginning and end. What else do people need to know about Block Farm, or about getting a hold of you to get started with Block Farm right now?
Well, I think this would be probably the best place to contact me if you're interested in getting your masternode set up. And we're specifically interested in helping people set up complicated, like high. So basically like Zencash supernodes and that sort of thing, and then the upcoming Dash sort of service nodes, and Loki when they're finally available. I'd love to set up some Loki nodes. I don't think they've launched their master nodes at all yet. But
yeah, when I had them back on the show, or the Monday show, and they had mentioned that they don't even have a date yet, but they should have announced it actually. So yeah,
but yeah, it's sort of more like, higher value master nodes that are harder to set up, because there's some, like, especially when it comes to Zencash, you've got to set up SSL certificates, and you kind of have to know what you're doing. It's not for normal non-technical people.
Cool. Very cool. All right. Well, awesome, man. We'll have to do a walkthrough as soon as there's something to walk through. Yeah.
I mean, my goal ultimately is to automate most of the process. Right now, we're still working on some of that automation, but it's just about connecting with people who need it and seeing how we can help you.
Cool. Well, hey guys, if you've normally tuned into Sunday Crypto and you've been interested in masternodes, then come and hit up Block Farm and be one of the first to sign up for the bespoke service, the early bespoke service.
Yeah.
Where
white glove.
Service with a smile.
Yeah.
And a happy ending? Oh, too soon.
Happy ending is your own responsibility.
Yeah, right. The happy ending is ROI, my friend.
Yeah.
It's ROI. There's no happier ending. All right, cool. Well, in that case, you guys know what to do. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed, and check this out because we may be talking about it next week. I mean, it's not a usual Sunday Crypto thing, but it's breaking. And yeah, let us know in the comments what you want us to talk about next week on Sunday Crypto. Till then, we'll see you guys.
Bye.